What I'm hearing from multiple sources around the league is going to get every single Bears fan incredibly excited about the possibilities that could unfold before the trade deadline. We're talking about a defensive reinforcement that could transform our secondary, elevate our playoff chances, and give us exactly the kind of veteran presence we need as we make this push toward January football. Welcome to Bears News Fan Report, your #1 destination for breaking news, exclusive insider information, and all the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. I'm bringing you something today that's been developing behind the scenes, a potential move that addresses one of our most critical needs. And I need you locked in for every detail, because this could be the difference maker we've been waiting for. Let me set the stage for where we are right now as a franchise, because understanding our current situation is absolutely crucial for evaluating what move makes sense over these next crucial days. The Bears are sitting at 5 wins and 2 losses, which represents our best start to a season in years and has this entire fan base buzzing with legitimate playoff expectation. We've got Caleb Williams developing faster than anyone anticipated. Our offensive line has shown significant improvement, and the defense has been creating turnovers at a rate that's kept us competitive in every single game. This isn't just about having a winning record. This is about being a legitimate contender in the NFC. And that reality changes everything about how we should approach the trade deadline. However, anyone who's been watching these games with a critical eye knows that despite our impressive record, there are still areas where this roster needs reinforcement if we're serious about making a deep playoff run. Our secondary has been tested repeatedly by elite passing attacks, and while we've held our own in most situations, there have been moments where the lack of depth and experience at the safety position has been exposed. We need more versatility back there, more physicality, and more veteran leadership that can help our younger players navigate the complexities of playoff-caliber offenses. The trade deadline is now less than 2 weeks away, set for Tuesday, November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which means Ryan Poles and the front office are in the critical evaluation phase where they're assessing what players might be available, what the asking price would be, and whether making a move aligns with both our short-term championship aspirations and our long-term roster construction philosophy. This is where championship teams separate themselves from pretenders, by being aggressive and strategic about addressing weaknesses before they become fatal flaws in January. What I'm about to share with you involves a player who's been identified by league analysts and insiders as one of the top 25 trade candidates available before the deadline. We're talking about a safety with an ideal combination of size, athleticism, and experience who could provide exactly the kind of insurance and versatility that playoff teams desperately need. This player has starting experience in the NFL, brings a physical presence that will complement our current defensive scheme, and most importantly, is playing for a team that might be willing to move him for the right price. The situation with this player is fascinating because it involves multiple layers of complexity that make the trade possibility both realistic and challenging. His current team had interest in moving him before the season even started, but his salary created complications that prevented a deal from materializing. Now, several weeks into the season, circumstances have changed in ways that could make a trade more feasible, and teams like the Bears, who are legitimately competing for playoff spots, are circling with renewed interest. Here's what makes this situation particularly intriguing from a Bears perspective. This player would fit perfectly as a third safety in our defensive scheme, providing the kind of depth and flexibility that becomes invaluable when injuries inevitably happen or when we need to adjust our packages to match specific offensive threats. His physical profile is ideal for what we need. He's got the size to match up against tight ends, the range to play deep in split safety coverages, and the versatility to function effectively in dime and sub packages when we need to get our best coverage players on the field. The player I'm talking about is Kyle Duggar from the New England Patriots, and according to recent reporting from ESPN, he's been identified as a legitimate trade candidate who could be available before the deadline. Now, before we dive into all the specifics, I need to give you a critical update that just broke. The Patriots have actually traded Duggar to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, you heard that correctly. The move we're going to analyze as a missed opportunity for the Bears has already happened, and it's worth understanding why this type of player was so valuable and what it means that a division rival in the Steelers was aggressive enough to make it happen. Let me break down exactly who Kyle Duggar is and why he represented the kind of target the Bears should have been pursuing. Duggar is a 6'1", 216-pound safety who brings an ideal combination of size and athleticism to the position. He's not just a deep coverage player. He's versatile enough to function in multiple roles within a defensive scheme, which is exactly what modern NFL defenses need to combat the diverse offensive attacks they face week after week. The buzz around Duggar's availability was significant in league circles. According to reporting, there was belief that the Patriots would have dealt him before Week 1. But his cost-prohibitive $9.75 million salary created complications that prevented a deal from materializing at that time. However, interest remained throughout the early part of the season, and with New England sitting at 5 wins and 2 losses, the calculus around whether to move him became even more complex. What changed the equation was an injury to Patriots starter Jalen Hawkins, which thrust Duggar into a more prominent role over the past 2 weeks. He played a combined 102 defensive snaps during that stretch, showcasing his ability to step up when called upon and reminding teams around the league exactly what he brings to the table. That increased playing time might have actually facilitated the trade to Pittsburgh, as it gave teams recent tape to evaluate and demonstrated his readiness to contribute immediately. From a schematic perspective, Duggar is exactly the type of player that playoff teams covet. He can play from depth in split safety coverages, which means he's comfortable playing the deep half of the field and preventing explosive plays over the top. His size and physicality make him effective as a dime or sub-package defender, allowing defenses to stay in nickel or dime personnel without sacrificing run support or the ability to match up physically with tight ends and bigger receivers. For the Bears specifically, a player like Duggar would have provided crucial insurance and flexibility in our secondary. We've been fortunate to stay relatively healthy back there, but the NFL season is a war of attrition, and having quality depth at safety is the difference between maintaining defensive integrity through injuries versus watching your past defense collapse when a starter goes down. Duggar would have given us the ability to rotate players, keep everyone fresh, and adjust our packages based on opponent-specific game plans. The fact that the Steelers were the team that ultimately acquired Duggar is worth noting because it tells us something about how they view their championship window and their willingness to be aggressive at the trade deadline. Pittsburgh is sitting in a strong position in the AFC playoff race, and they identified safety depth as a need worth addressing, even if it meant taking on salary and giving up draft compensation. That's the mentality of a team that's serious about winning now. And it's a reminder that the trade deadline is where contenders separate themselves from teams that are content to just make the playoffs. The predicted chance of Duggar getting traded was estimated at 25% before the deal actually happened, which shows that while it wasn't considered highly likely, there was enough smoke to suggest a move was possible. The team fits that were identified included the New York Giants, Minnesota Vikings, and Washington Commanders, all teams that had varying degrees of need at the safety position and the resources to make a deal happen. For the Bears, the question now becomes whether we pursue similar options before the deadline closes. Duggar is off the board, but there are other safeties and defensive backs who could become available as teams out of contention start selling assets. Ryan Poles has shown throughout his tenure that he's willing to be aggressive when he identifies players who can help us win now. And with our current record and the way this team is playing, there's a strong argument for adding one more piece that could push us over the top. The broader lesson here is about the importance of being proactive rather than reactive at the trade deadline. The Steelers didn't wait around hoping Duggar would still be available. They identified him as a target, negotiated a deal, and got it done before other teams could swoop in. That's the kind of decisiveness that championship organizations display. And it's something Bears fans should hope to see from our front office as we approach the deadline. What I want to hear from every member of Bears Nation is your perspective on this situation. Do you think we should have been more aggressive in pursuing Kyle Duggar before Pittsburgh got him? What other safeties or defensive backs should we be targeting before the deadline? How do you balance the desire to add veteran help now versus preserving draft capital for the future? Are you confident in our current secondary depth, or do you think we need reinforcements to make a legitimate playoff run? Drop all your thoughts and analysis in the comments below because I want to hear from this incredible fan base. If you haven't subscribed to Bears News Fan Report yet, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. This is where you get breaking news first, insider analysis you won't find anywhere else, and the kind of deep dive content that helps you understand what's really happening with your Chicago Bears. Smash that like button if you found this analysis valuable. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And share this video with every Bears fan you know. We're in the middle of something special this season, and I want you here for every step of this journey as we chase a playoff spot and beyond. I'll see you in the next video with more exclusive updates and insider information. Bear down!